This morning. Given the extensive day ahead of us, we might crack into it, and hopefully we'll be joined by some of our colleagues as we proceed. So any apologies of note? I have one from Mia Gordon. And Al Blackie. Yep. So moved. Seconded. All those in favour? Aye. Carried. Conflicts of interest? No, appears to be none. Confirmation of minutes from November the 12th meeting. Moved. Yeah. I'll second it. And I'll second. So moved Deputy Mayor, seconded myself. All those in favour? Aye. Those against? Carried. Matters arising? There appears to be none. Right, steam rolling. So now we have a deputation from Kaiapoi Promotions Association. You have the floor. If we could try and keep it within 10 minutes, leaving a few minutes at the end for some questions for us, that would be awesome.
We're quite conscious that there will be decisions given the event on. Oh, sorry. We're quite sure that we'll try and stick to time as best we can, but given the events that unfolded on Saturday, you guys want a bit more information. We're quite happy to stay as long as we've got, because we think the reasons behind why we moved are pretty important. It was probably a fairly dangerous decision to make, but it was one that we felt that we had to make, given that the grounds in Hilton Street were not really conducive and never have been to putting on a really good show that the Kaiapoi community deserved. Mm-hmm. And so we looked at it, and we didn't make the decision lightly, as some people seem to think we have. We took advice from a lot of people. The ground in Hilton Street, as you probably know, was very undulating, very risky, dangerous for wheelchairs. In fact, the distance between the car park, the sealed car park where the foodies were, and the actual ground was something like this. You can't get a wheelchair down that, and so it was gravelled to try and help access to it. And we felt that was quite dangerous, with kids running around and down there. The step down from the level, it was also prone to flooding. Of course, the traffic management costs came into play as well. There were other areas too that I think we felt warranted us moving, and so we looked at Norman Kirk Park. Where else was Murphy Park, and decided that we would approach the Kaiapoi Rugby Club, and they did, and they were absolutely fantastic to work with. So we made the decision that we would move to there, knowing that we were probably going to get a little bit of flack, but not nearly as much as what went down. Nobody likes change, and it reminded me a little bit of the Ford ad that was on earlier in the year, where they had the saying, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you always got. And for me, we didn't want an event which was just a replication of previous years. We wanted to improve and grow the event, and I think we proved that we were actually capable of delivering, and did deliver, a pretty good event. I have never, and I've been involved in these things for many years, and not just in Kaiapoi, but in other places, I think it would be the largest crowd that I have ever seen at a small town event. If it wasn't the largest, it would be the second largest. And I'm talking about a one-day event. We also had the Sounds of Summer at the same time, which if we hadn't had the flack that we got, we would have cruised through quite easily, but that certainly put the stress levels up pretty high. And I think we dealt with that quite adequately. If anyone wants the financial side of what's happened the last year or two, Greg's certainly happy to talk about it, but we would rather, if we could, focus on what we've just done. Mm-hmm. There had been comment around too that from retailers that I guess most of you are probably aware of the negativity. However, those that managed to get off there, and obviously with their ass and go and do something, had a really good day. We know one business in particular that normally closed on a Saturday at 4 o'clock. The last customer went at the door at 4:45. And you can't tell me that that was a bad day. The pizza place apparently did a roaring trade, and I believe there were probably others as well. So we wonder who's lying. Did they have a good day on the day of Carnival or not? We'd been told previously, didn't make much difference. Now when it moves, all of a sudden it's made a difference. Who's telling the truth? So we went with it, we didn't bow to any pressure. I don't believe in the social media, trial by social media or do what social media want. We did what and stuck to our plan. And that's why I think it was a success. Well, we believe it was a great success. And I would imagine that anybody that managed to go there would probably agree with us. I usually even have my notes, but they've sort of gone out the window. Sounds of Summer, we had, 5 bands, and up below, Josh Keating, Jaden Singleton from the Voice Australia, Assembly of Choir, and the Jordan Luck Band. And why did we move from the Kaipoi Rugby Grounds? We had to. We were told from pretty reliable sources, I think 3, of how we could expect sales to go for tickets. And the first part happened the way they said they would take off, they would level out, and then they'll take off again. We got levelling out, and that's where it stayed. So we had to make the decision and take the flak for it. Otherwise, we would have been about, we reckon, around about between $30,000 and $40,000 in the hole, and we just weren't prepared to take that. So we moved, and we copped a lot of flak for that too. But frugally financial, that's us. And I've got a couple of comments. That guy, Lee Hart, was sure as popular with the crowd. That was the Sounds of Summer that night. And some of the comments, Hamish, it was great to see all our locals out dancing, smiling, and having a great time, which they all did. And it was also an opportunity to showcase some young local talent, and they were able to rub shoulders with the Jordan Luck Band and others, so we felt that was a good opportunity for them to learn and to move on. But one of the things that we would like to do is thank the following WDC staff for the wonderful service. It was really great. Sean Maxwell and Roding. I know we should have probably named people, but we're going to name Sean Maxwell and Roding, Rob, Roy, Raj and Karen in licensing, Grant McLeod for green, especially for allowing us the use of Wiley Park. If we hadn't been able to use Wiley Park, we would have had some tremendous problems. And I think Poppy from the rugby club counted around about 700 cars in there. Plus, I don't know whether you saw around the streets, there were a few cars parked around the streets as well. So to me, that was a proof of a great event that was put on by KPO. There was Grace at the Service Centre for approving our health and safety plan. The Kaipoi Rugby Trust and their executive committee, we were so appreciative of what they did for us and how they helped on the day. They really got stuck in it. I think it was a senior team, arrived and helped people in their parks. Because another problem we had at Hilton Street, which I didn't mention, was we had to have stalls very close together, and that was dangerous because there was traffic moving at set-up time and breakdown time. It wasn't on. And I would fall on my sword at a committee meeting. I just said, if you're having it over the road, I'm out. I wasn't going to have a bar of it. And so that's why we moved and had a look around as well. I don't know whether any of you know Poppy at the rugby club grounds. Absolutely great guy. Nothing was a problem. Toilets got put in the wrong place. Poppy got the tractor out and moved them. He was amazing. And also, especially, I'd like to thank the crew of KPA. I think we put on a great show and will continue to do so. Before we moved to the Kaipoi Rugby Grounds, we ran a bit of a test, I guess you could say, and a spectacular event for the kids. And we managed to probably break even on that. And it was really just to see what the general feeling was in moving to that space as opposed to Hilton Street. So, any questions, I guess?
Yeah. We have a few questions. I'll just say I wasn't able to make those events, but I personally have only received positive feedback from them, so I want to commend you and your team on the work that you have done. But we've got...
Give it a latitude. Again, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Look, I just want to congratulate you wholeheartedly as a past organiser of the Connecticut Carnivals for many years. Certainly down the main streets, I have all the history in my head about how it came about, why it happened, and probably in my day we didn't have quite so much social media. In fact, fairly old, we didn't really have social media at all. However, I thought that there was a couple of very well planned Facebook posts first thing in the morning as soon as you hit the ground that clearly were designed to get negative feedback. If I was you, I wouldn't pay any attention to them at all.
We don't, that's how we're going to handle it.
You did a fantastic job in moving them. Look, again, a little bit of history. In my day, every retailer used to say to me, we're not there for the day to make money. We were there to showcase what we do. That's what they're there for. That's what it should be. It's the old adage. We'll bring you the people. What you do with them is your choice. And if those people don't want to move down there and do the things that they need to do or promote their business, that's their choice, not yours. So don't be frightened by that. When I used to do it, the crossing was a very new business when I was there. The first thing they complained about was, well, we're not involved in the main street. My argument to them, and I think one you can use, and you can still use today, is that the AMP showgrounds in Christchurch don't move outside their fences. But everybody benefits from the show. And that's exactly the same in Kaiapoi. So keep on doing what you're doing. You got it right. Unfortunately, you had to change your venue, but I know several people who went to Sounds of Summer and who absolutely enjoyed themselves. So don't be perturbed by what you hear. You will always have knockers. Just move on and take positive feedback, because there is far more of that in my view than there has been for a long time. And I think you did absolutely the right thing and you to be encouraged. I'm sure you've got some tweaks. Nothing goes right. So I'm sure there's some things you need to do. But in my view, you've got it absolutely right. And those who don't want to get on board, that is their fault, not yours.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Both the preface and the number of people that attended it, and I spoke to a lot of people, and there was a lot of people came from Christchurch. And in my mind, that's what we want. We don't want to be recirculating dollars that are already in the town. We want new dollars coming into the town. That's just my approach.
Well done.
And noting the time just at the moment, but we've quickly got Tim and Brent.
I'm actually happy to, for the sake of time, to actually pass on to the Kaiapoi councillors and others, because I did attend. So well done, brave move, big crowd, ignore the knockers.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With your indulgence as well, I concur with what Deputy Mayor has said. You as the committee of volunteers did an amazing job on Saturday. Not only did you change the venue, which was bold, you also changed the parade, which was bold, and then you had Sounds of Summer as well, which was bold, and you made the move, a foodishly responsible move to actually bring it into CBK, and CBK did an amazing job of running the Sounds of Summer event in the evening. You should be congratulated for the work that you did on that day. Congratulations, Tracy. I cannot believe that you probably started at very, very early morning and you finished very, very late. You put in a huge amount of effort, so congratulations to you and the team, and well done. You did an amazing job. We're looking forward to more and more events of this ilk, I'm mentioning now, because certainly the likes of Sharon Russell, which is on the screen now, she was keen to actually see more and more music events in the town. So let's hope that you're able to bring them to us and bring more people to the town. Just to give you a heads up, I've asked for the credit card detail in terms of the spend in Kaiapoi for the day. So we'll find that out in the new year, because I look at the traffic flow that was heading to the motorway on Saturday at the end of the event. It was masses amount of crowds heading out of Kaiapoi, so it gives me an indication that you had a lot of people from Rangi or other parts of the district as well as Christchurch. So again, congratulations to you and the team. Well done.
Thanks, Brent.
Any further questions of Kaiapoi promotion? Appear to me none. Yes, just echoing the comments of my colleagues. Keep up the good work. It's clearly working. Occasionally we do need to rethink what we're doing, and it sounds like you've made some bold, courageous decisions, so thank you. Paul and Joan, you're all good with us continuing. Do you want a quick catch up or?
I thought it was the 9 o'clock start.
So I've got a few of this out. We sort of knew
Glasses, John.
Moving right along to 5.1, Audit New Zealand report to the council.
Just checking this, just on the cables plugged in, so I have to get some more flat.
So as you know, the audit was completed back in October when we adopted the annual report, and the auditors issued a clean opinion at that point in time. Now completed the management report to us, and that's what's on the table today. There's only 3 new recommendations in the report. The fact there's only 3 recommendations is always a good sign from my point of view. It suggests that procedures were generally pretty good. And the recommendations themselves are not what I might call earth-shattering ones. One around the maintenance of a database for unit rates for 3 waters assets. One about our procedures for accounting for the value of land that we receive from land developers. And a third, that the need to undertake a traffic count to support our smooth roads performance measure, and that's in hand anyway. There were a few challenges with the audit this year, mainly because the auditors asked to start the audit early, which put us under a bit of pressure. And then, as you may recall, we also needed to do a evaluation of our 3 waters assets. So because of that, the audit process probably didn't get off to the smoothest start, and the auditors referred to that in the report. It all got completed on time, and I think we were the 2nd council in the country to get signed off, which I think is a real reflection of the performance of the finance team. So I think well done to the finance team for getting there. And that was on top of, as you know, the tough LTP period. So yeah, been a busy old year for the finance team. Paul's here as well. So thank you, Paul. Paul can also answer any of the detailed questions that I might not know the answer to. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions to the report? Councillor Williams.
Yes, just on page 32, at internal controls, we have not identified any signal paragraph. That sort of came out originally in 21, I think, from memory, as urgent to be sorted. Is that correct? 4.2 on page 32. Areas of improvement, control efficiencies.
In a sense, the report indicates that
Internal controls.
no significant deficiencies.
Yeah, but that come out in 21 as on page 22, if you have a look. Needs to be addressed urgently. So how come it hasn't actually been addressed properly yet?
Trying to get to the specific point, because the internal control obviously covers a wide.
I realise that.
So there's an appendix to the report which has the areas that the auditors have raised before and the progress on those. So there's 2 or 3 which are in progress, financial controls, including things like financial delegations within the accounting system. Those are being addressed through the change to the new accounting system. So is there any particular control?
Well, just the explanation of recommendations from the auditors, these recommendations relate to a significant deficiency that exposes the District Council to a significant risk for any other reason need to be addressed without delay. And we got that same sort of thing in 21, and it still hasn't been addressed as far as I understand. Is that correct or is it not correct?
So what the auditor's doing there is saying that there are certain recommendations which they think are the highest priority, so the urgent ones, and so towards the back of the report there's an appendix which has the outstanding recommendations. I think one of them is what they would consider to be a high priority and urgent matter, which I think is that one I just referred to, which is the to do with financial delegations as they're recorded within the financial system, and that we're updating those as part of the move to the new Datascape system. I don't know, Paul, if you've got anything to add to that, but that's action underway. Yeah, it may not have been as quick as the auditors would have liked, but it is now.
21 and that's now 24. That's an urgent thing for me, what the auditors state. I know council move in slow circles sometimes, but that is very slow, considering it's a policy. Have we had any problems with the internal controls of the policies with delegations and everything?
My understanding of this, Councillor Williams, is that this is involved in from Tech 1, and Tech 1 was the problem, and now we've got the new system which we've spent millions on to get to the point that we are now, which is being fixed as we go along. Is that, if I got just checking, or that's all, is that my understanding of this, and that's why it's taken so long, is because Tech 1 couldn't handle what was in there, but the new system can, and one of the reasons for changing it, is it?
I think the new system will reflect the changes. I think some of it's just and it's although it's expressed as urgent and important, it's pretty much more minor risks than that, because it's just to do with, as people have, say, a job change, they may go from having a $5,000 delegation to a $20,000 delegation, and the extent to which that's recorded in the updating the system may be delayed sometimes. It's not that that's fundamentally mean that anything's going wrong or that inappropriate payments have been made. It's just that aligning what's in the system in terms of controls with the latest positions may just be a bit out of date. There's
actually probably more the actual delegations policy that's the problem. But, so our delegations policy is written by position. So you have the General Manager, Finance and Business Support has a delegation for 250, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever it is. What happens over time is people's job position titles have changed, and what we haven't been doing well enough is updating that policy to reflect the changes in position titles. So when the auditors went to do their check, they looked at the delegation policy, which had the old position title and hadn't been updated, and then compared it to what's in the system, the new position titles, and they didn't match. So it's not actually basically you've got the same person in the same and doing the same work, but their job titles changed, and we haven't been good enough at updating for the new job titles.
So have we had any problems with staff spending more than what their delegation?
No, because in the computer system, they had a dollar limit of how much they're allowed to approve, and the system will not let them approve over that dollar amount. So there's never been a case of someone their approval level reducing. So even if their job title changes, they've still got the same delegation level. So it's not going to have a problem there. Like I said, what we haven't been good enough at is, as people's job titles changes, going back and changing the document to reflect the new job title.
Thank you. So we haven't had anybody spending more than their delegation that you know of.
Councillor Reid.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Also on page 32, paragraph 3, 4.2 refers to no significant control deficiency. Then it refers to a management letter addressed to maybe Greg, where we note areas of improvement. Does that letter note areas of improvement, or does it note areas for improvement?
It notes areas for improvement, and that items of a lower level and they believe needs to be brought to the attention of you as the governors. So it is smaller matters of internal control. So I've got the report here. It refers to things like journals. There's been recommendations made to us by the consultants that undertake our valuations of where we can improve our valuation processes. There's a little bit about technical accounting matters for building fit out and things, sort of lower dollar matters, and reference to the performance measure that deals with complaints around water supply and how we're recording the complaints there, and that is reported also in the main report. So things that they've brought to our attention, but they're not of the sort of urgent, significant matter that they would want to bring to your attention.
Has the committee seen that letter, or can the committee see it?
Well, there's no reason why not. It's a finalised document. The auditor's made a professional decision as to what should be brought to your attention and what shouldn't. It was their decision, nothing to do with us. If you so wish, I think that could be circulated to you. I don't see an issue with that.
Oh, well, if you don't see any harm, I would ask the chair if he thinks that it's appropriate. Secondly, going forward with audits, and this one seemed to me to be a pretty good result, is there likely to be a change in focus of what the auditor will be looking at, given the local government ministers refocusing of local government in terms of efficiencies, using his words, not a colleague's, and other matters, savings? Are they going to look at staff numbers and debt levels and those sorts of things in a different way?
Jeff, have a comment?
From the council's point of view, we hope there is. I've been appointed onto the Canterbury Mayoral Forums group to actually meet with the Auditor General and the CE from New Zealand to discuss how we can make our audit more efficient. Over the last few years, I think it hasn't been focused on the right things. It's in too much detail, and it's looking at things which we can improve upon. I think there was millions of dollars spent on audits throughout Canterbury over the 11 councils, and a lot of them were actually overrun because of the amount of detail that was shown. There's things like if we get a valuation done, we use a professional valuer that has to attend to their own professional standards, and it's the amount of questioning that goes on that's out of the council's control that the auditor seeks assurance on. It's things like that which we need to address, and whether they're actually auditing it too much of a low level as well, so looking at all the individual transactions and what is the area of risk which they should be assessing when they're doing that sort of role. So it's actually having a first up discussion with those two parties to understand where we can make some savings and efficiencies.
Oh, that's great to hear that. So the audit will become more meaningful, I guess, in terms of outcomes for us. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any further questions? Councillor Fulton.
just raises a question for me about the cost of audit fees, not just our own, but the mechanism by which the big firms determine this. I just was reading the annual report of a local, pretty large infrastructure company, and the audit fees were in the several tens of thousands. And I thought actually they didn't have a very high staff count. They just the books, even to me, if it was straight up and down, somewhere around 70,000 to auditing. So what is the mechanism? So obviously we have a substantial head count, and we have a huge sort of turnover, revenue rates, etc.
Yeah, I'd say in terms of complexity of organisation, councils are more complex than most. If you think of the number of services we provide, you think of the size of the asset base that we are managing, well over $2 billion worth of assets. So it makes it a complicated audit, lots of different streams of income. The audit of public sector in New Zealand is controlled by the Auditor General, and the Auditor General controls the level of fees that are set. So they seek to manage the market in that sense, and they appoint auditors, both Audit New Zealand and some of the firms to the audits. I think we all feel that the audit fees are high. Just echoing what the Chief Executive just said, my experience is that the audit's too technical in nature, focuses very much on the detailed matters which don't necessarily affect ratepayers, and focus less on how well money is spent, etc. So audit fees are high, but they are done in accordance with professional audit standards, and they audit in accordance with accounting standards. So their flexibility to move is difficult. So the appointed auditors operate within a regime set by the Auditor General, and it's largely the Auditor General that will determine any changes in the future.
I'd just like to add, there's the audits have to cover a lot of stuff that's set in Local Government Act and various other acts that the council has to comply with, and the auditors are obliged to audit on those points, which is extra to what a private company might have. There's also things like the non-financial report, performance reporting that they also have to audit. Again, that private firms don't have that requirement, so that all adds to the audit fee as well.
Any further questions? I've just got one really quick one because I'm also mindful of time. The recommendations requested by the auditor, that's not going to have a drastic impact on resourcing or anything. We're fairly comfortable in being able to implement those.
No major impact.
Thank you. Right, we have a report there. Sorry.
There's one bit of caution I probably should say, and we have to probably advise the audit committee that this is potential for next year. We're changing our financial systems, and when you do things like this, where you move from one financial system to another, there's a lot of bedding in to do. A lot of double checks, and even though we'll take as many assurances that we can, and we spend quite a lot of money to test the system and make sure it's fully functional, there's always going to be areas of improvement that comes out of a change of new system. And I'm just cautioning that there will be likely, we hope there's not, but areas identified from the audit which they'll request additional work be taken on. It happened last time, happened the time before that, and I would strongly suggest it will happen again, where you go through a period of change within the systems. We try and put in place strong internal controls, because we're just as much afraid of the sort of things that can come out of it. But it's just a bit of caution as we go live with a new system on 1 July next year, and there will be a lot of work being undertaken to try and make sure that goes as smoothly as possible with the minimum errors possible.
Thank you very much.
way, just a quick one on that, just to, if I can, just, so can you just refresh me, on our financial contingencies for that? So the headroom we have, but the extra costs of revisiting things, not just the cost of the moving project, but going double checking. Do we have 10, 15%, 20%? I mean, sort of, or is it quite minor in terms of financial risk?
Sorry?
15%.
15% it is on top of that.
Okay.
It's pretty standard. Yeah. You start with high percentages, and as you get further through the project, depending on what stage you got, it drops.
We have a report on the table. Deputy Mayor's happy to move. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Fulton.
Thank you, Mr Chair. Just look, this is a good audit. There's no question about that. If there isn't things to improve on, then I would be, our fees are that damn high that I'd be pretty disappointed if there wasn't things to improve on, because they won't be doing their job properly. And I don't think that anyone in any firm is ever going to get it 100% right. It doesn't work that way. That's not what audits are about. They're about improving everything that you do. And this is about improving some things. Some things can't happen quickly. I accept it. I mean, I think it's awkward questioning the whole lot. Every one of those questions are really good questions, but when the explanations come, they're also being equally as good. The audit fees, I think, will be addressed by local government New Zealand. Pretty hot topic. I was at Mayoral Forum while Dan was away, and it was certainly one of the topics that was on the table pretty heavily to talk about fees and collective fees, what can be done, you know, to try and get them down. So it is a very good concentration about what can happen. But in reading through this, there's very minor points that need to be addressed, and those points are about further points down the line as opposed to the actual heading of the point. So I think that it's well done, and the team's certainly on track as they will be. When the changes come around, inevitably, when you put something into practice, there will be some things that are not exactly where they should be in the initial stages. So as long as we're on to that, and I'm sure that Andy and his team, along with the Paul and Greg and their team, will be looking at those pretty heavily to make sure that we're in the right space to make things happen. I'm really pleased that overall we've had a really, really good result, which means that most of our systems, our working teams are going well. So congratulations.
Thank you. That is a good report, and there are areas that obviously will continue to trouble us, particularly fees. But in that regard, you have to look at the outlook, and you have to look at the function of an audit. An audit is there as an external sort of tool to help us improve our performance, to look at any deficiencies, whether they're big or small. And I think just got to look at auditing in the right way. It's a necessary cost, even if we think it's expensive. Sort of reminded of the other day, I think I saw in a court report suggestion that a lawyer who appoints themselves to their own advocate is a fool. So we shouldn't. What I mean is represent themselves.
Not quite the words.
I'm sure the lawyer will disagree with that. I better stop now before I get too much in trouble.
Yes, all this report, it's good. Apart from, we can't always blame the computer system when it's not the computer system's fault sometimes. So some things have gone wrong, and I'm very nervous when it takes from 21 to 24, and some of the problems there, not blaming the computer system at all, hasn't been addressed properly. So there are matters there that's not computer related. That has been a problem in the that scenario, but I will support this because it is a good report. Thank you.
I wasn't going to comment, but Councillor Fulton has prompted me to. The wording is a lawyer who acts for himself has fall for a client. And having said that, I think this is a good report. In some ways it is a tick box exercise, so whether we get value from the money is debatable. I look forward to what Jeff has indicated, that there may be changes to the audit going forward to make it more meaningful for ratepayers and maybe value rather than just ticking that we've, crossed our T's and dotted our I's. So this report is good and I don't have any concerns about it. I am nosy, so the management letter would be interesting if the chair deems that appropriate. Thank you.
Cool. Any further speakers? There appears to be none. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Carried. Thank you very much. All approved. Moving on to 5.2, Katrina. Floor is yours.
Taken as read. Any questions? You're in a hurry. Strict instructions.
Thank you for that. Any questions to the report? I've got a really, really quick one. Hopefully it's a nice simple one. In terms of the critical risk, in terms of staff stress levels and stuff, would you be able to possibly give me a reminder or a refresher of the matrix as to how we determine a critical high or medium risk? Is it a probability versus impact kind of matrix, or how do we come to the conclusion of what's critical?
Sure, so what we do is we use our risk framework that we have for the organisation. So it really is around the consequence and the likelihood. So we marry the two to get that score, basically. So we have the inherent score, and then once we put the controls in place and the mitigations, then we have that residual score. So that's how we base it on.
Thank you very much. Councillor Reid.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wondered if you could answer a council member attending a community event that experiences what we could call a near miss. Is that something that should be reported to this organisation, or is it the event organiser who should handle that issue?
I think in terms of a councillor attending, because we're also under that PCBU banner, that it should be reported through our platform.
Thank you.
Any further questions? There appear to be none. Do we move it? Councillor Fulton, seconder. I'm happy to second. Councillor Fulton.
Happy to support the report.
Yes, I just want to say thank you very much. It's a very detailed report. I suppose how I approach risk is possibly a wee bit different how the organisation approaches risk in terms of the nature and the degree which we put on it. Unfortunately, being trained to go into burning buildings kind of skews my risk matrix a wee bit. But I just want to thank you for the hard work that you and the team are putting into it, and I look forward to seeing some of those risks come down in the scale with mitigation. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Williams.
Yeah, thank you for this report. I'd like to sort of remind everybody that gets employed by a council, including councillors and community board, we actually get elected, or we actually elect ourselves to be employed by a stressful environment, because we've got a lot of community out there that are our judges and all that drama. So that has got to be taken into consideration when people apply for jobs in council situations as well, because I think everybody knows that there's a stressful environment out there, particularly in councils.
There appear to be no further speakers. I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Carried. Thank you very much. Have an awesome day. Right, moving on to 5.3, cyber security. Audit.
Good morning, everyone. Look, I'll take the report as read, but there's a few things I'd just like to highlight. I think we should acknowledge that our continuing compliance score against the benchmark that we use for cyber security is exceptionally high against the New Zealand benchmark, and that's down to the continuing hard effort of Owen and the team. There is one area, and I think it was highlighted in the last report, where there was a number of new factors brought in terms of assessing that compliance. One of them was around service provider management. And that score's still pretty low. It's a long-term thing, that one, where we start to build up and understand and make sure that our providers are complying on their side of the fence as well. So that's still there. And the last thing is that we continue to develop and improve our status in terms of cyber security through the hard work of the team and the use of a lot of tools that we already have in our tool bag. So we continue to leverage them as well going forward. So apart from that, any questions? Sorry, the one thing hot off the press. We have gone out to market to look for a cyber security partner. And what they will help us do in that sense is if we suffer a cyber security attack or incident, they can come in and help us support our recovery against that particular event as well. Now, we're looking at a partner in the market because we've already had kind of conversations with our insurer, and to be honest, there's too many get out of jail free cards, I think, in the cyber security insurance. So we would rather go out to market and bring a partner in to help us in that space as well. So we're doing that, and Owen and the team are going to be assessing the responses to that market test.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you. Just the performance against SAM, and you've got 40% councils or local councils use this. What are the other 60% use? Is there something different out there, or is it they not bother, or what's the? I'm just trying to gauge that score in 40% councils.
A variety of things. So a lot of them pick international standards, like the American NIST, National Institute of Standards and Technology. That's a very popular one. Some of them will be using things like ISO international standards. There's a variety of stuff out there that they tend to use. A lot of the councils, they may not follow a strict framework. There's a variety of knowledge out there around this area.
Thank you.
Councillor.
It's really good to see we've got a good score to compete with other councils and all that. Curiosity kills the cat, is it? Because we're doing such a really good job compared with other councils, or are we spending a lot more on this than other councils?
It's probably a bit of both. We're doing really well on that, and we are fortunate to have a very specific team focused on this. I have 2 members of staff who are focused on this, and another so that always helps as well. Look, I think to maintain that percentage, it's not a standstill. We have to keep moving. Environment's changing all the time, so to maintain the percentage of compliance we have, there's still a lot of hard work going on behind the scenes as well.
That's good to see where we are doing it. It would be good to have a comparison of the actual dollar terms compared with us and other councils. I don't know if that's available to find out.
Not through cyber compliance. They don't have that now. We are asking for a report that will bring to similar sized councils to get a comparable measure. But no, we won't get any financial figures.
And I wasn't meaning we weren't spending it. I was wondering whether the other councils aren't spending enough.
Possibly.
Councillor Fulton.
Thank you. Just a slightly narrower question, but it came out actually of the presentation, I think, so as councillors and community boards we were offered a couple of months ago, particularly about cyber security and about the risk of having our devices compromised. This maybe is a more specific thing, but it was about having external visitors to the building, people quite innocently or not, offering you stuff like a little USB drive. We all do it every day. See people and say, here's my pictures. So is there a broader framework of actually education that we can actually have? It might not be your area, it might be within governance or something. But
so we do run cybersecurity training for our staff.
Yeah.
There have been discussions about running it for councillors as well. I'm not sure that's actually progressed.
We do, yeah. Any sort of, that sort of seems a real risk point for, in the most innocuous way, isn't it?
So we do have, like I said, a wider kind of, we have videos going out every month, and we have notices going out as well. So we do kind of run regular kind of testing as well of our staff. Things like phishing testing, or we may do things like dropping USB drives around the place occasionally, not very often, but occasionally, to see how staff respond. But we haven't done that with councillors yet. That would be something that I personally would be interested in doing.
Okay. And my other question actually was born out of my travels. I was in the UK, and I mentioned we had a guy who's an AI very high academic level. He was to be a Scot actually. And he was talking about the AI and AI as an entry point for cyber security and filtration and sort of stuff, the way that we use AI at the time. Have we got a specific focus on AI and whether it compromises our systems?
So we have a policy that's been written at the moment around AI usage. We're doing a pilot for a Microsoft product to see how that would be accepted. And we're also investigating what other controls we can put in place. AI is being rapidly kind of adopted. There are threats out there. The major threats at the moment are more things like leaking information out, people inadvertently putting things into it, and then it being, if you use the public system for it, as opposed to the commercial one, the public one will take your data and use that for training the model. So the chances are that you could leak your information. So the bigger problem there is that you might leak some information. So we are investigating what we can do around that. And we do have tools in place that can monitor the usage of AI, who's using it, how often, what for.
Thank you very much. Again, mindful of time, I'll call into questions. We have a report on table. Do I have a mover? Do I have a seconder? Councillor Fulton. Thank you very much. Councillor Ward.
I just want to say thank you very much for the great work you do to keep us all safe, and we really appreciate what you do. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Fulton.
Yeah, thank you for your work.
Any further speakers? Appear to be none. I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work. And 5.4, Levoima.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. I'll take the report as read. I just want to point out a few things. The council received 51 official requests in this period, and we replied to 60. This took officials approximately 120 hours to do at a cost of 9,120. In this period, there was 3 requests that we advised that we will be charging for. One was reviewed and we were able to provide the information. One, we're still waiting for the applicant to respond. And on the third one, despite numerous follow-ups with the applicant, we haven't heard anything from him, so we will be considering that request as closed. I'm happy to answer any questions if members have.
As soon as the report, Councillor Fulton.
Thank you. One of the questions that we get for the government requests or official information requests and seeing copies of it is, what is the substantial difference from one question to another when you change 3 words or you reordered the question? Does that make it a new question? And how do you define that? Because you have the provision to basically to say that you've answered the question.
Yes.
Or in some circumstances, you might have to answer again just because someone's reworded it or just slightly changed. So who makes that call and how do you make it?
Through you, Mr. Chairperson. If they require more substantial information, then we consider it a new request. And yes, it can happen by changing the wording, because there's a lot of time that the applicants are fishing, if I can say it with all due respect, and they don't know what they're looking for. So you do get where they just literally change the time period, or they say in plans, and that makes it a substantially new request. As if there's more work to be done, we consider it a new request.
Thank you. Councillor Wade.
Thank you for your report, Tia. We have talked a lot about charging for these requests after a certain qualifying period. What do our neighbouring councils, what's their charging policy? Do they give a free half hour, a free hour, and are they actively charging for these responses?
When we actually were looking at the policy, we did some phoning around and did find out that most of them charge as per the guidelines, and the guidelines say that the first hour is free, so most of them do get the first hour free. And they are charging. Christchurch is charging, Selwyn is charging, most of the councils are charging, yes.
Are we looking at charging more then in line with the neighbouring councils?
Councillor, at this stage, after 2 hours, we charge for the information as was set out by the council, and that was a decision taken by this council. There will be a process coming to the council in January on the OIAs and how we're going to charge them. Simon's team is dealing with it. I just want to point out one thing about charging. We charge per question, where in one application we can get 12 questions. We're not allowed to charge for all 12 you have to charge per question, because every question is a new information request. So although we might only have received one physical request, it takes us quite a while to deal with each question, and we can only charge for the question that's going to take more than 2 hours.
Right, thank you for clarifying.
Any further questions of the report? No? I've got a report on the table. I can move Deputy Mayor Atkinson. Second, Councillor Williams. Deputy Mayor. Williams.
Thank you for the report.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We haven't quite closed it. I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against? Carried. You're all good. That's good. Right, moving on to 5.5, audit report for Enterprise North Canterbury.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
I grabbed some visitor guides and cycle trails and event maps, so I'll leave those with you when I leave.
Excellent. All right.
Thank you.
The floor is yours.
Oh, thank you. I think there's a presentation. Thank you. Well, I can make a start anyway. I think you've all got copies of our annual report. We're here today. I'd like to introduce Claire, the Chair of Enterprise North Canterbury, who you're most familiar with, and Mike Waite, who is the Chief Operating Officer for Witherspoon Honey here in Rangiora.
And the trustee of ENC.
And both trustees. Yes, thank you. So it's an amazing shot, isn't it, of we've just had recently commissioned that one. So basically, I'm here to talk to you about the year that's been, but also about our projects and what's coming up. So we don't want to dwell too much on the past, but we do want to showcase to the council that your investment's well placed with Enterprise North Canterbury. And if you've received our annual report, you'll see that we had a turnover of $1.5 million this past financial year, of which $686,000 was from this council, which we're grateful, and we leveraged another $814,000 from other sources. So we more than doubled the investment. $430,000 of that was from government funding and $324,000 from sponsors, businesses, mainly the business awards, business centre sponsorship, training, official visitor guides and the like. Look, we're a small team of 7 full-time equivalents, I think punching well above our weight and delivering projects and campaigns for our region. So our key highlights from our work programs are all about collaboration. That's how we're able to leverage that funding. And one of our projects that we just recently ran, the month full of flavour, was the North Course in North Canterbury. It's where we match food and beverage producers with eateries, and it's their opportunity to showcase a dish that's inspired by local flavours. So Claire was one of those who had the urban revival. Oh, you want me to do? Okay, thank you, Kate. Just a right click, is it?
Do you want to press the
Yes.
button?
Might be Chris.
Oh, there we go. Thank you. Might be because it's a PDF. And here's the, I don't know that we can roll it up a wee bit, Kate. Make it full screen.
Sorry?
Can you make it a bit fuller screen? Or roll it up a little bit? Yeah, just a smidge. It's in a PDF format rather than a...
While we're admiring the lovely flowers, a bottle of milk brown wine, we now have a dish below it. So the North Course, so us at Urban Revival, was a perfect opportunity to create a local dish focusing on local produce. We're very, very fortunate in this region to be recognised as a produce region, and I think it's fabulous that we have so many eateries. This year we had 33 eateries that took up the opportunity to showcase a dish, of which some of them, about 27 of them, matched that with a beverage as well. So that could be an alcoholic beverage, it could be a coffee, it could be a juice, a beer. So it gives that variety. So the dish obviously is created from as much local produce as you can create from this fabulous region. So looking at the dish that we had there, we've got lovely asparagus that came from Grown in Sefton. We did use Akaroa salmon, it's only just across the other side of the water, but of course you can purchase that locally. We've got lovely fernside microgreens, and we've got summer hill free range eggs, and all our vegetables that are used are purchased from Grown or from local producers in the region. So that's a great feature, and those 33 eateries had some amazing support. With the 48 producers, we had 864 people that registered in the Waimakariri district with regards to, and the Hiranui district, with regards to the dish that they tried. So they just went on and gave it a rating, very simply, did they enjoy it or not. And it was just a fabulous opportunity to see what people were appreciating, and an amazing exposure. The social media and the coverage that ENC promoted across the business and for all the eateries and people was very well received. I think it was a great acknowledgement for everybody, well recognised in the supermarkets as well. So a very successful campaign that was generated by ENC. So once again, it's a Hiranui and Waimakariri district focus, and certainly very well done. So that's just an aspect that ENC, that I support through ENC, along with the eateries and other aspects as well. So well done.
Thank you. So we had a huge increase this year. We had 21 eateries last year, went up to 33 this year. We had 500 something ratings, up to now 864. So next year we'll go for 1,000. And a lot of people don't actually rate the dish, they go away, they've tried it, but the rating is to win a prize, and it's a North Canterbury prize. It's accommodation and spa and all the like. So it's all contributed free of charge by the operators.
And the promotional material supplied to the different eateries really further promotes the region to all the other customers that come in. They're very visible. I mean, I went into several myself and asked about it, and got all sorts of positive sort of thoughts back from the people I was talking to, which is a real positive.
Thank you. So Janine and Zoe are working in the Visit Waimakariri space. We have again run campaigns. I think that we get more visibility, even though we're in behind the scenes a lot. We come out because the campaigns really show off and show our product in our region. So why not make a day of it? We stuck with that tagline, because why is in Waimakariri, obviously, and we are a day location, really destination. We had a campaign that ran for 4 months, and we had huge social media, website views, Google Analytics, and should I say, stuff digital natives. Look, we measure it all, and we're starting off to run another one starting mid-January, and it's going to be about the beaches and about the waterfalls. So Again, it'll be about the day stuff that you can do out here, but also encouraging people to stay the night as well. We get industry involvement with the businesses that are here. An example was we facilitated and collaborated on a Avenues magazine. It was a 3-page spread, you may have seen it, all in paid for by the 9 businesses who advertised. So it's just our role is pulling that together, making it happen. Rhodey is a social media content creator, and he and she, it's a duo, collaborated with 12 of our businesses. They will feature in the campaigns. They're going to actually receive that imagery, which will help them in their own business, but we'll be using it on our website. They've done videos, we'll be doing reels and some amazing photography, and you saw that one at the beginning there. Another one where we collaborate with people in the region who've got visitor industry is businesses, is the official visitor guide. 61 advertisers paid for that, 25,000 copies produced, and they'll be distributed over the next 2 years. The Waimakariri Cycle Trail Map, I think you've all got a copy of that. That's funded as well by Ray White Real Estate. Everywhere we can, we try and get sponsors. So the Rangiora Street Maps are sponsored by Devlin, which is no longer, but they've got the street maps, they've got their stamp all over that, and Kaipui Street Maps, Harcourt. So we also connecting the businesses with influencers, which are Christchurch Gal and all sorts of ones that are coming out to the district and getting some really good uptake. I think they just did one recently with Equiland and got thousands of views. And just finally, what you'll find on our website, 95 eateries. So, I mean, if you want a directory of all businesses in Waimakariri, here it is, and it showcases them beautifully. It's built up over the time, but if you don't see your business on there, I'd be surprised. We've got golf courses, farmers markets, arts and heritage, and of course we've got all of our 40 itineraries, what to do in a day, as well as our events guide and our events for the coming year. So, and they're all supplied in, at the Kaipui eyesight. We get a lot of people coming in for the cycle trail maps, like you wouldn't believe, a lot of caravanners and people that come out on their bikes from Christchurch. So they're all looking to do things and spend money locally. So Zoe and Janine, that's them up there on the left, they actually attended the New Zealand Motorhome and Caravan Association national show. There is one in Christchurch, but this is the national show in Hamilton. And of course we want to see more visitors from more than just Christchurch come to our region. 23,000 visitors. We had actually conversations with over 400 people that came to our stand. They all got given a visitor guide and they're all very keen to visit Kaipui, and some who've already been have said that it's one of the best parts of New Zealand. So we got some really good feedback from there, and we'll be going again. It's a really great place to showcase our district. Here's just an array of what we do. So Made North Canterbury is about the listing that we have. It's a website of all food and beverage that's produced locally. We have a directory of over 60 businesses on there, encouraging also businesses to use the mark. You'll see the mark at the bottom of that slide, Made North Canterbury. So Harris Farms is one of the biggest producers of meat alongside of Palace, but he actually does make things in North Canterbury, and he's got it on all his packaging right through all the supermarkets. So he's proud that his stuff is made in North Canterbury. And just recently, Olivia from Wild Child Ferment's putting it on her packaging. So, and Milkmaid have it on their packaging. It's just to be proud that it's made in North Canterbury. I've talked about Visit Waimakariri, North Canterbury. We talked about that last time. It's a new website promoting all things, showcasing why workers would want to come here and work and live. And we have had 6 businesses fund videos that are on that website. And they tell a really great story about the business itself. It might be Main Power, and I think the council had one. We just did one recently for Waikari Health, so they've got 4 health centres in Hurunui, and it was so successful they're actually It's been picked up by NZ Med, and they're using it to recruit international healthcare workers to New Zealand. So it's our videos are going further than just locally. We were going to use it to recruit to Auckland, but to hit the international market is actually quite significant. So we see that as a real success. The business awards run last year, 370 or so there, some were here today. We're running it again next year in the Main Path Stadium on the 31st of October. I know it's been a tough year, but we believe it's going to turn around next year, so we're not going to give up. The board said keep on, through thick and thin. Businesses still need to showcase to each other and to others what they're doing and be appreciated for that. And it's a massive event. It's a $150,000 event, so it's money, and we only ever use local. And then that lovely lady typing on the keyboard is my guy Miles in disguise. They have interacted with over 700 businesses this year, whether it be face-to-face or through workshops that we provide. Through the Regional Business Partner Program, we issued over $80,000 worth of subsidies from government funding. We build resources on our website, so go check it out, waimakariri.govt.nz. We send a lot of businesses there to get readily digestible information about marketing, about starting a business, about exiting a business, everything that you need to know, managing staff. So look, being a local economic development agency funded by the two councils mean our businesses build a relationship with our team, and we make value referrals to the right experts, because I've said we're not experts. And then lastly, Pegasus Bay Trail. Janine's been working hard. We were able to get that funding, and now we've spent it from DIA, which is Department of Internal Affairs, $300,000. So we've upgraded 26 kilometres. It's extra wide, it's extra smooth, and the Te Kohaka Trust, the Tuhaitara Coastal Track, have reported significant increase on their tracks as a result, and the feedback's been amazing. So we're working with council currently to see if we can get the road markings to connect the trails, because they're all owned by different people. So council owns some of them, Te Kohaka Trust owns some of them, ECAN owns some of them. So they're not one trail, they're connected trails, and so that's done by the road markings and signage. And we've just spent $11,000 on signage so that people don't get lost. And that's a 60-kilometre cycle trail in our district that we'll be promoting next year. So it'll be joined up, and I think it'll serve our district well. So just a brief.
Sorry to interrupt temporarily, just looking at the time.
Yes.
Do you have many more slides to go?
I just want to just talk around our combined communications. We've got 4 Facebooks, 4 news websites that we're managing. I've got a team that's highly effective on social media, and that's why you're probably seeing more and more, and I'm just really proud of that team. So finally, looking ahead, there you go, my cuckoo bee. We're going to do more of the same. We're going to grow our investing page on northcanterbury.co. We're going to host Cuisine Magazine again in the district. We're going to launch the business awards. We're going to continue to grow Made North Canterbury. We're going to develop a pie trail as part of Made North Canterbury. We're going to fund to promote events. We're going to continue to develop the Pegasus Trail, cycle trail, to what I said. We're going to continue to strengthen our visitor industry and also ensure that our sponsors and businesses feel valued and continue their support with us. So that's it from me.
Thank you very much. With the committee's indulgence, we might just push it out for a few questions, because the work that's being done is quite important. That's all right. Are you open for questions now? Sure. Councillor Williams, Councillor Ward, Councillor Williams.
Just a quick one. I noticed in this book here, it's been mentioned several times over the years by different councillors and me about the Venera Airport, the aviation scenario. I know there is one wee dot on the map there that's an airport, but we've got quite a large aviation business and museum with some of these planes, and Cust and Burnside and Mangara. why haven't they been approached? Would it be specifically mentioned
Yeah.
several times
Honestly,
at this committee?
okay. I know that also Joan has mentioned that, but I had a feeling it wasn't here, but I'll go away and have a discussion. Yeah, okay. Well, I thought that there was some mention of it. It's certainly on our website.
There is a
So
document.
again, this is funded by advertisers. It's an advertisement material. So it's where we pull everything together. So those that want to go in it, pay to go in it. Those who don't pay, don't go in it. So there's probably another 60 businesses that could have been in here, but didn't want to pay $395 each to be in there.
Where I was getting to what has the airport or any of those airport authorities been approached? I know some of them haven't. I've spoken to them about it, so.
Yeah,
you
as
know, they don't know about it.
a visitor industry, this is a visit, so it would only be the museum that would probably be eligible to go in a visitor. Yeah. So I'll find out for you, Paul, and I'll come back to you. And John, yeah, that's fine. I'll find out.
So, Paul, when you spoke to those businesses, did you promote ENC on a?
Yes, I have. I've actually asked them, has ENC approached, and not just aviation, other businesses around, have they ever been approached by Enterprise North Canterbury? And to be quite honest, I haven't had one that said yes yet.
So did you,
and I can tell you, I can name them afterwards if you want me to give
no,
names.
I'm curious to see how you promoted ENC on our behalf.
I wasn't active promoting, I was just asking, have they been approached by Enterprise North Canterbury? It's not my job to promote you guys, but you guys
feel that we might be getting into a wee bit of Do you have any other questions, Councillor?
No.
Councillor.
Thank you. Just thank you for the great work that you do in promoting, and just a small team. We're really proud of what you do, and I know that it's difficult times with sponsorship, and we're very grateful for what you can raise. But you'll know that our promotions associations, Rangiora, Kaikoura and Oxford, having real issues with in the past have been able to get local sponsorship, and that seems to have dried up. And so we're looking at a strategy of how we can keep them afloat. They've scaled back what they do, which is probably prudent in these economic times of the events that they can run. How can we work together to make sure that they are also successful?
I'll pass it over. We have been supporting them considerably. We meet with them on a regular basis. Kaikoura probably has had more out of ENC than the others, but they had the River Song Carnival. They got $20,000 for that, and we supported them. We promoted them, and then just recently the Jordan Luck event. They got $10,000 for that. So we know what their events are, we attend their events, we promote their events. I'm not sure what else you want from the event fund or what support. And the businesses that do sponsor us, Joan, we've had a long historical, like Hella's been with us for 9 years, and Misco's 9 years, and GP's 9 years. Those are businesses that we've maintained over the years. And it is hard to get sponsorship, but the big thing about sponsorship is maintaining your sponsors.
Probably the Rangiora promotions more than as much as anything. That has changed. And I just wonder how we can support and make sure that they reassess and revalue it and move forward again in a positive way. I know there's a lot of change happening, and it's quite different to what it was 2 or 3 years ago, and I understand that. But what I'm saying is, how can we all work together to make sure that they reassess and with the changing in climate, that they can be supported and move forward positively with the events that they are doing.
A really good question, Councillor Ward. Just a couple of comments. One, just with regards to approaching business that Councillor Williams raised, it's a really good question as well. There are, I can't remember if there are 6,000 or 8,000 businesses in the district, and we have a team of 7 people in the NC. And so we have to be really wise about how we use those resources to promote the district and get traction on economic development through sort of larger scale, district level kind of programs. But we have an opportunity through our statement of intent, which comes up to the council every year, to have a look at that and think about what are the programs that we can ask for, what are the outcomes that we're seeking, and how do we modify the statement of intent to make sure that NC is pointing in the right direction based on the economic circumstances. I think with the promotions associations, we, as you're aware, we had a review underway. We got to a point through that review, and then unfortunately our key staff member on that review had an accident and has been unwell for a period of time. We're looking now at how do we get that moving again, that review of the promotions associations. And I think between the review of the promotions associations and having a bit of a look at the statement of intent for NC around the same time, we can probably fine tune how we spend the money that we provide to those organisations to get the outcomes we're seeking to get a little bit more successful. So really good questions, and that will be something that will be brought back to the council for the consideration over the next next year.
Thank you. I know it's within Roger's place and I like that that things are difficult at the moment, and how can we make sure that the money that we give is actually really focused on getting the best back that we can.
Yeah, thank you for that comment. Yeah, just press for time, so we might have Councillor Regan as the last question.
I don't have a question, it was a comment, so I'll make it in speaking to the recommendation.
Thank you very much. So we've got Deputy Atkinson is willing to move. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Ward.
I think everything we need to know is a really good report as a whole, and the presentation's good. Everything we need to know is in here. It is up to us as councillors to set the SOI. I don't know how many times I've said that. If there are changes that need to be done, then we need to do it. The NC are there to carry out what we ask them to do. They are doing that, and it's in this report. It's a great report. Clearly success around what you're doing, and I think that you're doing a great job. If we want to change and make it very different, or more successful, or less successful, that is our choice. The councillors absolutely need to take that on board, that is how we do this. The NC is a council-controlled organisation. Take note of those three words, because there may be another one of those coming very shortly, which you might not like. This one has a board that works extremely well, and the results are in here, and I think they are very good results. So congratulations, keep up the good work.
Thank you, Councillor.
I sit on his, but I will go out of council. So he can speak now.
Councillor.
Thanks very much. I know we're short of time. I'd just like to thank you, ENC, Heather and the team, for the work that you do. I think we get good value from the investment we make in your organisation. So the report speaks for itself, and the presentation was good. And I couldn't let it pass but to say it was good to get to know you on the trip, Heather. But of course, what happens on tour stays on tour. So I won't say anything further. So you don't have to worry. So thank you very much for your report. I think it's excellent, and I'm very pleased with the work you're doing.
Just checking in a minute, Councillor Regan saying what happens on the trip stays on. Councillor Keith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's always an impressive report to actually read. Congratulations, Heather and the team. I'm mindful of the question that you asked. Did councillors send people to ENC? So I did that yesterday. And I've got a bit of a complaint because I followed up and the person said there was such a line-up outside eyesight yesterday that they couldn't get in. So what's the story? Must have been a good sign or something. That something was happening in Kaiapoi that they were lining outside of the eyesight. There was probably about 6 or 7 people lined up. So congratulations.
Yeah, a lot more visitors around, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's a really excellent report. Well done.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Fulton.
Thank you for the report, and yes, it was also good to actually on the trip hold the exercise lawyers' confidentiality, just like never mind. So with that, just an observation and speaking to this, I recently heard, as you might have, that in Selwyn there's going to be a vast new train all the way from past the coast to Waihora. And I've got to say, there must be some massive benefits for us in that as they cycle their way down or up past our bridges. So, massive loop. I'd be very interested to hear what kind of benefits that we can have out of that, through cycle tourism and all that. I think there's a huge opportunity for us without necessarily having to do it either lot. So thank you.
Councillor.
2 seconds. Thank you for this report. It's good to see the council is open and transparent.
I'll forego my comments for the interest of time, but I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Carried. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you. And then moving on to portfolio updates, I was wondering, Councillor Ward, in the interest of time, since we have 4 minutes, and whether you'd like to break them up, would you like to forward those that report through to the members of the committee?
I've already forwarded them to Kay, so she can forward them on to you, and they're all self-explanatory, so happy to do that, and save me having to speak.
Unless there are any particular highlights you'd like to mention.
I think they're all in the report, and Kay will forward them to everybody, and they can get them. I give you 4 minutes.
Thank you very much for your consideration, Councillor Ward. Right, and on that, any questions, understanding this? Any urgent general business? No? Thank you very much all for your attendance, and the next meeting is Thursday, the 11th of February. Go well and enjoy your 3-minute coffee break.